Hi, this is Susanna Goldberg, and welcome to our kitchen. I'm going to be making tonight garlicky chicken with lemon anchovy sauce, and I love this recipe because it's super easy, and it kind of looks kind of fancy. It's got some fancy ingredients in it, but it's super easy to make. So it's a good go-to for me at the end of a long work day. Got to still feed my family of 6. For me, it doesn't have any gluten. It doesn't have any dairy, so it makes it a good choice for people who also have some issues with some different food things. This comes from the New York Times, and so I have really enjoyed their app. So here's the chicken, and it's just chicken thighs that I've done with salt and pepper. And I'm going to let those rest as I look at the recipe. I've made this many times, but I still use the recipe. But I'm going to go ahead and make the garlic oil first, and you're going to add the garlic cloves. And for many of you who haven't cooked with anchovies before, this might splatter a little bit, they're really easy to cook with, and I hadn't done much with anchovies in the past. But in this situation too, like I just use all of them. My family happens to like all the anchovies. So you just really put them in, and I was surprised at how easy it was to get them to move together. Now the capers, turn it down a little bit, it's splattering a lot. The one thing about this recipe, it does splatter. So the capers are drained, and that will hopefully help them from kind of splattering around too. And this is us making the garlic sauce. You can see I don't cook that much with a lot of oil, and I did get this pretty hot before we started. So I am not as used to all the splatter that it causes, but other than some cleanup, it's not too bad. And the anchovies actually dissolve quite easily, which I was surprised about when I first made this dish, because like I said, I hadn't really cooked a whole lot with anchovies in the past. A lot of times I use a splatter guard on top, just so that if it splatters like this, it doesn't get all over the place. So if you have a splatter guard, that's one that you can definitely use as well. I am using a little bit more chicken than the recipe actually calls for, just because I have a little bigger family. So I'm going to actually be doing this in a little bit of 2 rounds with the chicken. But really what I'm just doing is moving around the garlic and the anchovies and the capers, so that they dissolve together to make kind of this nice garlicky sauce. I'll show you in a little bit when the chicken goes in the oven. Make sure your oven is at this point on 350, so it's warming up. Because once we kind of brown the chicken in here, then we're going to get it in the oven to finish it cooking. Okay, so you just kind of break this up, stir it around for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm just going to turn it back up a little bit since it's going to stop splattering quite so much. So the next step is going to be that we're going to add the chicken thighs, and we're going to cook till they're browned on each side. And if you're looking for a good cooking app, I have enjoyed the New York Times one, and it's been really great over quarantine when I just have some ingredients I really need to use, and I want something to do with them. So now that we're just sauteing the capers and the garlic together, this is going to kind of be your base for the sauce for the chicken. And what I love about that is it's such a yummy sauce left with the chicken that what I have my family do is go down to Navanta, and they grab a fresh baguette. My husband was smart enough this time to ask for it to be pre-cut, so they actually even cut it for us. And this is great to dip in this garlic oil that we're making right now, and it kind of just mates with the chicken, and it's so delicious afterwards that everyone wants to eat the bread and soak it up with the oil, so that's great. Okay, so our garlic is getting pretty browned, and I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken so that can start getting cooked. So like I said, I'm not going to put all the chicken in at once because it will crowd the pan too much. You can also do this if you don't have or you don't like to use nonstick, because I know some people really don't. You know, you can use a iron skillet too. What do they call that? You know what I'm talking about. So, you know, just you don't have to use the nonstick pan, but I kind of like it. It's a little more easy cleanup. So we're just going to brown the chicken on one side about 5 to 7 minutes, then flip the thighs. And I'm going to actually remove my chicken onto a plate so that I can put another round of chicken in. And then they shrink up enough that I can put even 7 thighs or 8 thighs into the oven. So I'll see you in a few minutes when I'm done browning all my chicken. And I'm going to, you know, show real fast it going into the oven. Okay, thank you. See you in a bit.